precisely 6:15. This is the news on Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. News is edited by Lal Mallavarachi, read by Sabrina Zawahir. The headlines. The first batch selected for Israel construction sector will depart on Saturday. 8 Sri Lankans rescued from Myanmar cybercrime camps safely arrived in Thailand. The ADB says Sri Lanka shows signs of recovery but must maintain reform momentum. 2 police officers arrested over assault on youth in Medavachia were remanded. The registration for the 2024 electoral register is underway. And in world news, the US President vows ironclad support for Israel amid Iran attack fears. And in sports news, it's cricket. A former all-rounder Azam Mahmood will take a role with Pakistan's men's side. Now the local news in detail. Signifying a fresh start for Israeli jobs in the construction sector, 125 individuals chosen as the inaugural group for construction roles in Israel received their air tickets from Labour and Foreign Employment Minister Manusha Nanakara. These appointees are set to embark on their journey on the 13th of April. During the gathering, the minister highlighted both the privileges and challenges of being the first group. He stressed their pivotal role in upholding Sri Lanka's reputation through diligent work. The minister said that the first group is considered advantageous but also risky. Their journey is crucial for the country's future. Being the first group, they are fortunate to receive the highest salaries compared to previous workers in Israel. The 8 Sri Lankans who were rescued from the cybercrime camps in Mayawadi area of Myanmar have safely arrived at the Embassy of Sri Lanka in Thailand. Commenting in this regard, the ambassador of Sri Lanka to Thailand, Mr. Janaka Bandara, said the rescued people will be repatriated to the island in the coming days. Out of the 56 Sri Lankans who were trapped in cybercrime camps in Mayawadi, 8 were rescued by the Myanmar government authorities in early March and sent to the Mayawadi Central Police Station. Burmese immigration officials handed the group over to the Thai officials. According to Ambassador Bandara, the rescued Sri Lankans are in good health and are currently accommodated at the Sri Lankan Embassy in Thailand. In December 2023, media reports shed light on the plight of a group of nearly 60 Sri Lankans who were lured with tourist visas behind the false front of lucrative IT sector job offers and are being held captive in Myanmar by a notorious ethnic armed group. It was understood that they had been duped into applying job vacancies in Dubai by a certain agent in UAE, only to be trafficked into Myanmar for cyber slavery in Mayawadi, where they were forced to commit internet scams. The Asian Development Bank says its annual flagship economic publication, the Asian Development Outlook April 2024, has projected Sri Lanka's economy to record moderate growth of 1.9% in 2024 and 2.5% in 2025, following 2 consecutive years of contractions. According to the publication, Sri Lanka is showing signs of recovery, with green shoots emerging in the second half of 2023. Inflation has decelerated to single digits, foreign exchange reserves continue to build up, and the exchange rate has appreciated. Meanwhile, tourist arrivals and remittance inflows continue to show a commendable recovery, while supply conditions have improved. ADB's growth forecast hinges on the continuation of reforms and better consumer and business sentiment. Timely completion of external debt restructuring will also support Sri Lanka's debt sustainability efforts, the Regional Development Bank underscored. This news is brought to you by Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
At People's Bank, we empower your pride. People's Bank, pride of the nation.
Continuing local news, 2 police officers attached to Medavachia police station have been arrested by the Kebutikolawa Crimes Unit over the alleged assault on a youth recently in Medavachia. Accordingly, a police sergeant and a constable attached to Medavachia police have been arrested for allegedly inhumanely assaulting the youth after taking the latter into custody. They were produced before the Kebatiko Magistrates Court today. According to the Police Media Division, a group of police officers on traffic duty near the Medavachia Primary School on the Mannar-Medavachia Road had signalled a small lorry heading towards Mannar to stop. However, the lorry driver had ignored the police directive to stop the vehicle and continued to forward, prompting the police officers to give chase. While the lorry was evading the police and proceeding through by-roads, another team of police officers from the same station who were travelling in a three-wheeler for an operation in the area had noticed this lorry fleeing. The police department today announced that the public should be vigilant over a gang that robs valuable belongings of long-distance passengers. They said members of this gang usually board long-distance services buses like ordinary passengers and rob the valuable belongings of passengers. Therefore, police request the passengers, bus drivers and conductors to be more careful. The police also said that these thefts happen mostly on the Badulla-Colombo long-distance buses. That ends local news.
You have got a transfer.
That's all right, sir. They are all our children.
The right decisions with noble intentions bring pride. At People's Bank, we empower your pride.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala Vedamahatmya.
The registration for the 2024 electoral register is currently underway. The Commissioner General of Elections, Saman Sri Ratnayaka, says if an individual has not registered to the 2024 electoral register, they can register themselves until the 6th of May. Registration will be made possible through the Grama Niladhari offices, the Election Office and the official website of the Election Commission. That was main news.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala Vedamahatmya.
Moving on to Watchlight, the Department of Excise is planning to launch a special operation in Colombo during the two festival days, targeting illegal booze sellers and to implement law strictly during the Sinhala and Tamil New Year period. A senior excise official overseeing the Colombo city said that a joint operation has been organized in collaboration with 4 main excise stations in Casbava, Padukka, Battaramulla and the Colombo city. As a result, over 50 officials deployed in several teams will be patrolling the greater Colombo area in search of lawbreakers who would sell liquor defying excise orders tomorrow and the day after. That came to you in Watchlight.
Coming up, World News.
Taking a look at the headlines of the world news, US President vows ironclad support for Israel amid Iran attack fears. US and Japan boost defense ties. Breathtaking new paintings found at ancient city of Pompeii. Now the world news in detail. President Joe Biden has promised Israel ironclad U.S. support amid fears that Tehran could launch reiterated consolidated an attack that killed senior Iranians. Mr. Biden warned that Iran is threatening to launch a significant attack after Israel struck the Iranian consulate in Syria 10 days ago. Early on Wednesday, Iran's leader said the Israeli attack in Damascus was equivalent to an attack on Iran itself. Israel has not claimed responsibility for the attack, but is widely considered to have been behind it. The U.S. and Israeli forces in the region have been put on high alert in the days since then. Mr. Biden's remarks came as he was speaking to journalists at the White House on Wednesday, alongside Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida. U.S. President Joe Biden and Japan's Prime Minister have vowed to strengthen defense cooperation in the face of a potential threat from China. The plans announced by Mr. Biden and Fumio Kishida during his Washington visit include an expanded air defense network incorporating Australia. Additionally, Mr. Biden said a Japanese astronaut would join NASA's Artemis program to put people on the moon. The astronaut will become the first non-American on the moon's surface. Stunning artworks have been uncovered in a new excavation at Pompeii, the ancient Roman city buried in an eruption from Mount Vesuvius in AD 79. Archaeologists say the frescoes are among the finest to be found in the ruins of the ancient site. Mythical Greek figures such as Helen and Trio are depicted on the high black walls of a large banqueting hall. The room's near-complete mosaic floor incorporates more than 1 million individual white tiles. With that, we conclude the world news. Prior to concluding, the headlines of the world news once again. U.S. President vows ironclad support for Israel amid Iran attack fears. U.S. and Japan boost defense ties. Breathtaking new paintings found at ancient city of Pompeii. That ends world news. Moving on to development news. The Japanese government has granted a stock of high-tech scanners valued at $8.4 million to the Katunayake International Airport and the Port of Colombo. These scanners have been provided to monitor health issues such as epidemics and contagious diseases harmful to public health which could be spread by foreigners in the country. The first batch of equipment under the grant aid was handed over to the Minister of Ports, Shipping and Aviation, Nimal Siripala de Silva, and the Japanese ambassador to Sri Lanka, Mizuki Hideki, at the Katunayake International Airport recently. That was development news.
Moving on with sports news.
Assistant coach Azam Mahmood will leave Surrey with immediate effect to take a role with Pakistan's men's side. The former all-rounder joined the county in 2022, with the club going on to win consecutive county championship titles over the last 2 years. Mahmood also had 2 playing stints at Surrey and said it was a difficult decision to leave his second home. Mahmood was previously assistant coach for Pakistan from 2016 to 2019. He will act as interim head coach for their T20 series against New Zealand. That was sports news.
Go ekakthiyana youth ekat life ekේ change ekat niyamata set wenna as wahagena dakapu veena habe karanna youth ekat niyamata set wenna friendship එක menna.
The all new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IAM, a plan for your dream.
Business news sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Extending the growth momentum, the international tourist arrivals to Sri Lanka crossed the 50,000 mark during the first 9 days of April. The provincial data from the Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority showed that for the first 9 days of April, the island nation welcomed a total of 50,537. This brings the cumulative arrivals for the January 1st to March 9th period to 686,321. That was business news.
Business news sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekakthiyana youth ekat life ekේ change ekat niyamata set wenna as wahagena dakapu veena habe karanna youth ekat niyamata set wenna friendship එක menna.
The all new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IAM, a plan for your dream.
Moving on to economic news. Sri Lanka is in the final stages of negotiations with its creditors, spearheaded by Japan, to suspend debt repayments until 2028. The repayment period will be extended from 2028 to 2042, with a lowered interest rate of approximately 2%. Despite Sri Lanka's appeal for further debt reduction, Nikkei Asia reports that no additional cuts are anticipated. China, being the largest creditor, is participating as an observer. However, the terms of its debt restructuring are expected to align with those agreed upon with other creditors. That was economic news.
Weather report.
Finally, we take a look at the weather report. The Met Department forecasts showers or thunder showers to occur at times in the eastern and Uva provinces and in the Hambantota district. Showers or thunder showers will occur in most places elsewhere over the island in the afternoon. Heavy showers above 100 millimeters are likely at some places in the western, central, Sabaragamuwa and southern provinces. the general public is kindly requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damage caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during thunder showers. That was the weather report. Prior to concluding this bulletin of news, the headlines once again. The first batch selected for Israel construction sector will depart on Saturday. 8 Sri Lankans rescued from Myanmar cybercrime camps safely arrived in Thailand. The ADB says Sri Lanka shows signs of recovery but must maintain reform momentum. 2 police officers arrested over assault on youth in Medavachia were remanded. The registration for the 2024 electoral register is underway. With that, we conclude the news, and over to my friends and certainly yours, who's all geared up to keep you entertained with a wonderful collection of music. Over to you, Mariela and Navindu.
Thank you, Sabrina. That was Sabrina Zavahir bringing you the main news broadcast right here from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Wishing you nothing but the best and have a safe journey back home.
She always does a fantastic job with her news. So we are wishing her all the very best, and we also should say to her, Eid Mubarak.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
Happy Eid, Sabi.
Happy Eid. Yes.
Well, I think she's getting her Watlapag ready on the other side.
Yeah, she should give us the treat, yeah.
She's about to bring it to this side of the studio.
Sabi, where's the iftar?
Coming soon.
All right. So apparently she's about to deliver it to this side of the studio. So thank you very much in advance and wishing you nothing but the best, Savi, and have a safe journey back home. The time was on to 31 minutes past 6. This is Radio Sri Lanka.